Then when a bunch of Europeans in the 80s and 90s bombarded United States, and it was for many different reasons. Economy was really good in the United States, so owning a dance studio or teaching in the United States was much easier than anywhere else. So lots of people would come because if you were a trained dance teacher, you just made a better living.
How different was the syllabus at that point? Because over 50
Oh,
years, I mean, it probably dramatically changed. So,
correct. And it has been redone many, many times. So,
yeah.
but if you think of the basic waltz and then cha-cha and rumba and swing, they did not change.
Yeah.
I mean, they evolved technically. We obviously, when you're watching videos from the 60s and 70s, Hiram Montes, the dancing was much, much different. The styling
It
was different. I
was.
mean, and I tell people often, this is part of why I like being in our business. We can continue to learn.
Yes.
We continue to bring coaches to the studio, learn a little different arm style, little fans from Thomas Milnicki, you flip your hand, you flip your pinky. That was kind of fun. I've been doing it for a long time, and all of a sudden somebody tells me something new. Super really fun and exciting to learn something new and continue for the rest of your life, maybe.
Absolutely. And to echo that, I think that our industry and the creative arts industries are one of the few areas where you do have that opportunity, where there's never a medal that you will get that someone says, okay, you've learned it all, you're done now. You always are continuing to evolve as the style and the art form evolves. I was watching a workshop by Shirley Ballas a couple weeks ago. She's currently, or was a former judge on Strictly Come Dancing, which is Dancing with the Stars, the UK version. Mm-hmm. She's also just an incredibly renowned dancer. If you go back and watch videos of her when she was competing with Corgi and then watch her style today, it is completely different. And it might be just the fact that she has had so many more years now to grow and adapt and change her style, or it's a reflection of how much Latin has changed over the last 20 years. But it's like watching two completely different dancers. And I think even at her level, now coaching, but pretty much retired, the fact that she's still continuing to grow and adapt and learn and change is really just a testament to how much it changes.
And interestingly, you mentioned her last week also. We were looking at who should you learn from if you go on YouTube and start searching. And there's lots of really, really bad videos. There's some good ones, and there's some incredible ones, like Shirley's are incredible. And what I love about her is and it's nothing to being European, but she said, okay, there's a forward Latin walk, but don't take my word for it. Mm-hmm. There is probably 9 or 10 ways of doing the same work, depending on a person's body. So if you're learning from somebody and they tell you, oh, this is the way you're supposed to do it, try it, but then maybe look for other ways and see which one you like or feel the most comfortable with. Again, this is art. Mm-hmm. So you cannot do wrong, except for if you're doing really wrong. So no heel leads in the rumba.
Exactly. There are some major sins that you don't want to commit when you're dancing. But as far as the movement themselves, every body is different and every person's life experience is different. And that's reflected in how you dance. So train with a bunch of different coaches, figure out what works for you, develop your own personal style, and then go from there. Follow-up question from the chat. Over 50 years, did the international and American syllabuses get more similar or more different? I personally would say with reference to smooth and standard, they are getting farther and farther apart. With American rhythm and international Latin, I feel like they get really close for a couple of years and then they get really far apart for a couple of years.
Well, and then they get really close again. Now let's talk about why that happened.
Yeah.
Travel has changed, internet changed society and everything that we know, life and world right now. Those two styles, the international American, in the beginning were really, really going far apart because there was not as much contact between Europe and United States. And so then when a bunch of Europeans in the 80s and 90s bombarded United States, and it was for many different reasons. Economy was really good in the United States, so owning a dance studio or teaching in the United States was much easier than anywhere else. So lots of people will come because if you were a trained dance teacher, you just made a better living. Yeah. Things are changing like right now in Poland. Like this is shocking to me. I went, my friends own a dance studio. They teach as many private lessons as we do. You know, I never thought that would be possible because the society just had a different um, mentality. Retired people supposed to just, you know, take care of grandchildren, you know, and that's what I was taught till I moved here. It's like, oh, you can go golf and play tennis and take dance lessons. This is fantastic. So the lifestyle of crazy Americans influence Europe. So now Europeans are learning more American dances because they're more social and more fun. It's easier to learn, to lead and follow. So in the 90s, those styles came very, very close together. Like if you watch American rhythm championships, there were straight legs in the Roomba, you know, and people would win with that because they were Europeans and they just look good.
And I feel like that's why occasionally you will hear a passing comment that American rhythm is just bad Latin. And as someone that's a trained nine dancer, and I'm sure you especially being a former rhythm champion, take that very personally. It's like, no, they are two different styles.
Right. But also they are the same because
Yeah.
international cha-cha. I want you to watch the 9 different chasses. Actually, everybody should learn those because when people say, oh, international, you dance on a straight leg, sometimes,
Yeah.
but lots of times, or most of the time, and lots of times, you actually step and put your weight on the bent knee. You should know all those techniques, not just one, but all of them. Again, the cross training.
Yep.
In both American and International, you have a bend and a straight leg. So if you don't know this technique, no matter what kind of dancing you do, you are just bad dancer or you're a good dancer.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
it.
And I try to explain the difference in a very simple way between Latin and rhythm because I think that's where the water gets murky, so to speak. I think it's very easy to look at a standard dance and a smooth dance and recognize that those waltz are very different. But I tend to say in Latin dancing, the emphasis is on landing, on transferring your weight on a straight leg. It doesn't always happen, but the emphasis is landing on the straight leg, but you still have a bent leg action. Whereas in American, if you're doing a hard Cuban action, the emphasis is landing on a bent knee. You still have a straight leg, you still come to a straight leg, but the emphasis is on the bent. But again, American rhythm, I feel like of the 4 different major dance styles, American rhythm is the one that I see that's constantly evolving and changing because it hasn't settled in the same way that I think smooth and standard have kind of come into their own identity.
Yeah. Well, again, there is now international champions that are becoming rhythm dancers, and you actually watch them, and they are doing very good American band knee technique.
Yes.
You know, so they must have practiced and changed it and like it. And again, it's a preference thing. So you watch 6 couples and you go, which one's gonna win? This is an art, and it's supposed to be fun.
Absolutely. Absolutely.